and engineering for US Aggregates. I've been in the mining industry for my entire career. It's one I stumbled into when I went to school at Virginia Tech and joined the Mining and Minerals Engineering Department. Didn't even know it was a thing until I got there and went to an information session and remember sitting there thinking, that's something I can do. My parents were a little concerned because when I called home and said, I'm going to be a mining engineer, I said, what the are you going to do with that? And I said, run things. So here's a picture of me. This is how I prefer to see myself at work, out in the field with my team. I can get dressed up when I need to, but I would much prefer to have on my steel toes and hard hat and be out at the sites. A little bit more about me. So obviously I went to Virginia Tech, have a mining degree. I have a wonderfully supportive husband, 2 beautiful kids. My daughter Sophia is 12, my son Noah is 9, and I've got 2 adorably lovable Labrador retrievers that keep us quite entertained. A little bit about today's presentation. I'm going to take you through a little bit of a journey that my company has been on, my team's been on, the journey to predictive maintenance. So very common in mining, especially in aggregates, is to be very reactive in our maintenance. Run it till it breaks. I've heard so many people say that in my career, and I really wanted to spin that on its head and say, why do we run it till it breaks? Let's do the maintenance when it needs to. A little bit about US Aggregates. So as I said, it's a mining company. We do construction aggregates. We are owned by the Heritage Group, which is 4th generation family-owned company based in Indianapolis. Within that subset is Heritage Construction Materials, of which US Aggregates is a part of. We've got sister companies that do heavy highway paving, liquid asphalt, as well as road reconstruction. But within US Aggregates, we've got 15 limestone quarries where we're crushing stone for a variety of industries, but typically heavy civil type work. We've got 4 sand and gravel plants, again, selling that into ready mix, landscape, similar applications as our crushed stone. And 2 industrial mineral sites where we're serving actually 2 completely different markets. So one of our industrial mineral sites produces a high mag dolomite, which is used in glass and fillers and makes a beautiful golf trap sand. And we've got a high calcium deposit of limestone where we're serving the mastics industry, a lot of adhesives, fireproofing, and automotive as well. You can see sort of on the map here where we are located. So our name is a little misleading because we say US Aggregates, but really we are based and only operate in Indiana. So this journey that we're on, where did it all start? So I joined US Aggregates about 3.5 years ago. Prior to that, I had worked for another company. And really the goal was to shift us from a production focus, like I said, run till it breaks, we've got to get tons on the ground, to a performance in our culture. We were looking at some of our metrics, and plant availability is one that we always look at, and I like to target probably 85%. What we saw is our numbers were below that. We were running some locations as low as mid-60s in availability. We had some sites that were up in that 85%, but as an overall average, our company was around 73% availability. So we wanted to look at that and strategically change our approach to maintenance and repairs and shift from reactive to let's do the right maintenance at the right time in the right way. So what does it mean to do the right maintenance, right? I wanted to give my team the tools and resources that they needed to be successful. So one thing that we undertook in the last several years is to put every people leader within US Aggregates through a minimum of Yellow Belt training from Lean Six Sigma. It's a great problem-solving technology or tool set. I'm sure most of you are well aware of what that is. But with that, it gave our teams really good understanding of root cause analysis, the use of Pareto charts to identify where the biggest issues are, where we're having hazards, what is continuing to take us down. And then we started really revamping our preventative maintenance program. Let's get it scheduled. Let's work on visual management within that so that we know when it's the right time to do our maintenance. And then we also have undergone a lubrication consolidation. One thing we recognize is that I had some sites across like the eastern part of the state. They were using one company. My sites across the south were using another. The northwest region was using yet another. And so what we looked at is to say, greases alone, we've got as a company probably over 25 different products that we're using. So from site to site, you could have somebody go and pick up a grease that they think is for the plant and put it in, and it's not the right grease. And in some cases, not even compatible, which causes its own issues. Now we're going to do our maintenance at the right time. As I said, we're very often doing our maintenance where we were running it until it breaks. I really wanted to flip that on its head and say we should do the maintenance when it needs to be done. So we started looking at mean time between failures. If we know that every 6 weeks we're doing a task, or if every 6 months we're losing a component, let's get ahead of that and start replacing it beforehand. Okay? Let's use all that historical data to plan what we're doing forward. We added in some thermal imaging. We bought thermal cameras for all of our teams so they could go out and start identifying hotspots. What are those trouble areas that are going to catch up to us? As we saw in the video this morning, actually, though, when you're doing it maybe once every 30 days, you're not catching everything you can, which is where the KCF sensors came in. We also are utilizing KCF for the experience of their analysts. We don't have that in-house. I can't support that in-house. We're not quite big enough. We're kind of like right on that cusp. But utilizing their experts to look at the data and tell me what it says has been tremendously helpful to our teams. We're trying to shift to doing the maintenance instead of the repairs. As a leader, this is one of the most difficult things that my team had because it was so different from how we did it. I don't think everybody was ready to sort of get on board, if you will. So one thing we did at one of my plants, and is a huge success story about doing the maintenance at the right time, is I had a location whose availability numbers were about 65% in 2022. They were down as much as they were running. We had a high level of customer demand, and so they got stuck in that death spiral of, we have to run, the plant broke down, patch it up, let's get running again. And what we said is, we need to take a timeout. We need to take a maintenance outage. You did not get done the maintenance that you were supposed to get done during the off season, and it's killing you. So what we did is we committed. We worked with our sales team to say, can we move customers to another location? Can we push people off a week? When does that project start? What is the demand? And we took an outage in the middle of the summer, which almost never happens. An entire week down in the middle of May for us to do maintenance. And we scheduled in all the contractors to work on our crushers, contractors to work on our screens. We brought in people from our other locations and hit this plant from beginning to end. And by doing that, we saw a 10% increase in availability in 1 year. 2 years later, they're running at 85% availability, which is just phenomenal. It improves the morale, it improves the safety, and it's just a really telltale sign of what this type of program can do. Add into that, I had some people who were a little hesitant about changing up the way that we do things. They really got on board with that. In the right way, as I said a little bit, right? Sometimes you would patch until you would run. We really started looking at plan the work, work the plan. We're going to be safer and more efficient when we work according to that. Okay? Knowing that our plans can change, that's fine, but continue to plan. Redo the plan if you need to, but it will make our people safer, and that is always top priority. We're utilizing all of our Lean Six Sigma tools. Again, everybody went through Yellow Belt. We've had a big push on 5S for organization across the company. And it's pretty great to see. We were just at a plant inspection. We do safety inspections at each of our locations. I was just at one 2 weeks ago, and one of my hourly guys, who's not even been through the training, came up to me and said, Kristin, I cannot wait for you to see this 5S job. We completely redid all of our organization for our V-belts in the storage shed. So the fact that it's getting down to our hourly guys who haven't even gone to the training is just another really encouraging sign that the culture is truly shifting. We're continuing to standardize our parts and pieces. One thing one of my teams did that I thought was great is they redid all of their guarding. So in the mining world, we're governed by MSHA, and you have to use a tool to take your guards off. So most cases, we bolt them on. But they changed all of the bolts to everything is a 1/2 inch. So it doesn't matter which guard you walk up to, you know exactly what tools you need to have to be effective in that job. As I mentioned on the last slide, we did some consolidation of our greases. This is a visual management color coding of our Milwaukee grease guns. So the blue grease goes in the plant. The black grease goes in a hydraulic hammer, which is used to break oversized rock. So they've color coded the grease tubes so that the guys at the plant know exactly what it is that they're putting in the plant. And then the best part is, we're correcting the root cause. We're creating a plan to work our preventative maintenance into what we're doing, as well as if you fix the symptoms and the root cause at the same time, again, you don't end up with as many symptoms. I wanted to share with you a few stories about how the KCF technology has layered in and really helped improve our location. So one great example, this is a combustion fan at one of our industrial mineral site at Portland Pine Grime. We got an alert that said, you've got vibration on your combustion fan. You might want to go and check it out. and the guys went out and found that there was a significant amount of fines buildup on the combustion fan. They cleaned it off, vibration went back down to where we would expect it to be. But then about 3 months later, we got the same alert. My guys went out there was buildup on it again. But in case you've never been to Indiana, it is always windy, always. It's windy more than it's not. So what we found is that we need to be doing this monthly as part of our preventative maintenance program. And this allows us, within that 3-month window, to pick a day where it's not blowing at 40 miles an hour, and our guys can safely get up there and clean this fan. This also helps us avoid expensive replacement and parts with long lead times. When we did this, and we did the math to figure out, what was this going to actually save us, the biggest part of it was actually the downtime, because if we had lost this part, it was 2 weeks lead time. And so for any plant to be down for 2 weeks and unable to run is significant. This project alone, when we did the math initially, saved us about 10 cents a ton. At the same plant, Industrial Minerals, we have this bucket elevator. It's the long, narrow structure in that middle picture. We were replacing bearings every month, okay? In 2022, we spent over 20 hours of downtime attributed to the bearings in these bucket elevators. So we were changing them. What we found with the KCF sensors when we put them on is we were over-greasing. I think we had people who didn't think they could ever over-grease, right? How much grease do we put in that? I don't know. Pump it till it comes out. What was happening though, yeah, see, chuckles, everybody's been there. But what was happening is, right, we're blowing the seals out, and as the name Portland Fine Grind says, we are grinding this material down into a powder, okay? If people know sieve sizes, we're making everything below 325 mesh, some 200 mesh material is being handled by some of this equipment. So you blow those seals out, all of those fines get into these bearings, and it just eats them up from the inside out. So by realizing that we were doing that and cutting back on our grease program and greasing it properly, we've now had the same bearings in for over 6 months. So I pulled those numbers, and this year, in 2024, we've only had 2.5 hours of downtime attributed to one of our 4 bucket elevators at this site. I mean, that's tremendous, right? To go from 20 hours to 2 hours, or mid-year, so maybe 5 hours for a whole year is quite significant. That's a whole 2 shifts. This also yielded, I would say, another 10 cents a ton. So have we finished our journey yet? Absolutely not. I don't know that you ever really finish a journey like this, as it's ever evolving. But if we are committed to doing the right maintenance at the right time in the right way, we'll continue to see significant improvements. We've rolled this out. This site that's pictured here at Portland was the site that we piloted. We have since rolled out to 3 additional sites. And as, just totally lost my train of thought. But we've rolled it out to 3 additional sites, and we've had significant savings at many of them. I was sharing some stories last night with some of the groups at the reception. And I want to share one because I think it's really interesting, is we're building a brand new plant, okay? And everybody would think, brand new plant, it's going to be great. You're going to just be able to fire up and run. I was hoping that. You always have a few bugs. We fired up, and we were into the first full day of production. And my project manager on the job went up to check the bearings on a very large crusher. And he called me and said, hey, can you check KCF sensor on the east side bearing on the HSI crusher? It seems hot. I was able to pull it up, and we were running at 180 degrees on a brand new bearing. I said, yeah, that's not good. The west side bearing was running at 110. So they took it apart, opened it up, and realized the inner seal of that bearing was cracked and had been damaged. Brand new from the factory, had run for a total of about 10 hours. So these sensors have already attributed and helped us tremendously, even at a brand new plant, where you would hope that everything coming from the factory is exactly as it should be. So that team is actually replacing those bearings today, hopefully. Everything will be back up and running tomorrow, as it should be. But it is just a great point to see. The data is so nice. We could actually look at the trend and see exactly when it started to tip over into the realm of not being right, which allowed us to go back to the manufacturer and say, hey, we think it's something, right? It wasn't something that got in the bearing. It wasn't anything else. It was just from pure manufacturing. So we're going to continue to do the right maintenance. Our teams want to fix their pain points. Our teams want to address what is going wrong. They know what it is. So give them the opportunity to do that. Give them the tools and resources whether it's through yellow belt training or other forms of lean training, so that they know and they can work their plan. Let's do it at the right time. Let's plan our work. Let's work the plan. Let's improve our safety and efficiency. And let's do it in the right way. If we continue to address and fix the root causes, our plans will transition into doing maintenance and not repairs, which is always the goal. I think that's the last one. Very good. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time.